Hey, I'm Kaylee, and today I'm going to tell you all about Libra season and the astrological archetype of Libra. So, Libra season falls in the fall season around September 23rd through October 23rd. Libra season comes right around the fall equinox and it marks the beginning of the new season. So, with this, it's a really powerful time to set new intentions and reap new harvest and to really activate this energy to improve the relationships you have with you and your life in general. And it's important to remember that all of life is relationships. Everything we do is a form of connection and interaction, a give and a take. And it can be work, money, family, and like all the different things we juggle in life. It's all a form of relationship. So during this time period, it's about reevaluating our life, where we're at, where we want to be, and improving that relationship first with ourselves and then of course with other people as well. And I always say check your own astrological chart to see where Libra falls so that you can be aware of how this energy really works for you, and especially during Libra season. Super important and powerful to be mindful of that as well. So during this fall energy after September 23rd, Libra is asking us all to find balance. And that's kind of the key word. It's about balance and relationships. And how can we balance the scales to create more neutrality, to overcome karmic imbalances, and to ultimately create more beauty and harmony in all of life and relationships. Libra is an air sign, so it rules the mind. And it also, the symbol is also the scales. So it's really about how can we find the equal give and take, the equal balance, and live in like a totally beautiful, loving, and harmonious way. Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, and it's just so connected to the house that it rules. Libra rules the seventh house of partnership and relationships. And so again, it's really just highlighting relationships, new and old, and how we can use this energy to harness the best life by looking at our relationship, all aspects of it, and transforming it and changing it with the new shift of the seasons. And every time we shift seasons, it's extra powerful energy to ignite change, to have new beginnings, and to really like reset and intentionally like be mindful of what you want to create in this season, and especially right now in the fall, for the spring season, which is the astrological new year. So it's kind of like a halfway point where we're done with spring and summer, and now we're moving into fall and winter. And so it's important to get clear, not only on the fall equinox that day itself, where it's equal light and day, but also after that, and where you may be falling out of balance and where changes may need to be made so that you can ultimately like really own your life and your own foundation for living, and then harness and reap what you sow and have a beautiful harvest or soil new seeds and intentions. It's all individual, but we can look collectively at what's going on. It's almost like a reorganization now that we're shifting into the new season, the new quarter, and new energy to really ignite change ultimately. So the Libra archetype is known for being the diplomats of the zodiac, like they are very neutrally minded often. They can see all different sides and perspectives. And, usually Libras, they live in like the higher consciousness, higher reality, and higher morals. They love justice. Loyalty and honesty is super important to them. And Libras in general are usually pretty good people, like they love connecting. They're great at it. They can be leaders and like help show people the way or help other people. They like to be of service, and they're usually just a more open-hearted sign of the zodiac. Now, of course, there is shadow, which I will get into, but the balanced form and best form of Libra is someone who's living in harmony with themselves and can create authentic relationships and have relationships even with people they may not like. They know how to emotionally and mentally connect the dots to create the harmony or interact with people in like positive ways. Now, going back to their shadow side, sometimes they can be people pleaser. So they can kind of lose themselves in the crowd or conform to please people or the crowd, or, kind of not step into their individuality. And another shadow aspect you have to be mindful of with Libra is being too selfish. So acting for their own needs, maybe lying and cheating people to get their own needs met, and just engaging in like dishonest behavior in general, which are again tipping the scales and not living like authentically and aligned and balanced, right? So during Libra season, it's important to look at yourself and where you're living out of alignment with the higher Libra values, right? And how can you transition to live in better ways ultimately, and really have a look at yourself and transform the relationship you have with you and the people you connect to and how you act and behave in life. Libra energy often challenges us because it forces us to communicate better and create better ways of relating. And that can trigger a lot of people, especially in your closest relationships. And it's really a time to highlight like where people can find the neutral ground, love one another, create harmony, and have the tough conversations, communicate from a place of love in the heart, and not get stuck in either the mental energy of the mind, like being too stubborn, reactive, my way or no way, this is how it is, and then or like staying in the suppressed emotions and reacting from that place. So it's really about merging the two and finding again the heart balance too with Libra, because Libra is all about balance. So when we connect it to the mind and body, how are we not integrating our mind and emotions, and how are we living through our own karma of what we think is right and our own habitual patterns, habits, and behaviors, right? So in astrology, every sign is connected to a part of the body. And Libras, or Libra season, they connect to the kidneys. And it's no coincidence because everything's connected. Libra, or the kidneys rather, they usually rule fear, and it's usually where we store unconscious fear. So unconscious means we don't know about it, but we're acting from that place. So when we relate that to Libra energy, it's like connecting the dots on how can we become more vulnerable, authentic, and raw, and really authentically express and communicate and connect with people on that level. And I kind of believe that that's one of the biggest human challenges, is because we all kind of wear these different masks and insecurities and live from our conditioning in different ways. And to evolve out of that and out of our mind loops or how we think life needs to be and what we're used to, it takes tremendous energy, and it takes a willingness too, and intentional. So it's like, look at the places where you may be lying to yourself. You may be staying in a relationship that really doesn't work. You may be blaming someone else for really problems that are your own. Or you may be lying in different forms of what's working, what's not working for yourself, and what you ultimately desire from a place of love and happiness and harmony. Because the Libra values, they teach us that, to live in this authentic form, it requires the embodiment of the values and having that full like truth within yourself ultimately, so that you can like live in this higher perspective of life. And that's a challenge for all of us, especially in our society. It's like, how can we own who we are, know who we are, and really live that place from a secure, stable, mentally and emotionally balanced place of love, harmony, and connection. So always remember during the fall season, and depending on whatever else is going on in the astrology, relationships are highlighted massively, and it's about overcoming the triggers and the fear, and to find the balance and to own your life, your heart's desire, and also to encompass that in your life and have the tough conversations, or put up the boundaries, or spend your energy in different ways to ultimately transform your own life and well-being and create better habits in general around relationships. It's not about blocking. It's not about staying guarded. It's not about defense mechanisms. It's about releasing all of that and these mind and mental games that are played with everyone, and the triggers and the traumas, and finding the balance, being like, hey, this isn't working, having that closure, reconciling, you name it, like whatever it is. That's what Libra is here to teach us, how to strengthen our relationships, our ways of relating, how we connect in relationship, and our vulnerability and like authenticity to really form, authentic relationships, community and people, and, soulmate, soul tribe that really work. And it's important to first, have the intention in yourself on what you want in life, who you want to be around, where you're striving to go to, et cetera, and then be able to use the energy to help you get there. But, everything begins with ourself ultimately. And so highlighting relationships during this time period is important, and to just be conscious and aware of things that happen in this time period that may be showing you another way or a new way or a better way, and to flow with it, right? So we never want to be resistant or think we know better than like universe or God, which, human nature I think is to do that, right? Okay, so from my learnings, Libra ultimately teaches us to hone our power back into ourselves. And it's huge and massive lessons that we all can learn, right? In different forms, of course. So we come out of Virgo season, and Virgo teaches us discipline, organization, like getting the foundation, becoming this like priestly person who's going to be of service and do their purpose and do what they like and have a direction, right? And then Libra's teaching us that, okay, we can have the idea, the vision, the purpose, whatever, but now we need to learn to relate to it and relate to ourselves in real ways, and then with others, right? So it's like we move from the summer, high energy, into this like fall of like grounding, stability, foundation, and really perfecting ourselves, and especially our mentality. That means our beliefs, our limiting beliefs, our unconscious beliefs, and healing those deeper things inside of us so that we can ultimately get what we want, It's like I heard someone in my life recently told me, oh, like we don't communicate on the same level. Like we're not well. Like we can't like connect and put up a wall, And it's like, well, that's one perspective, but the Libra way to think of it is we are not connecting and communicating on the same level, which is growth for both of us to learn how to better communicate and become more open, and find the imbalances so that we can be at least mutually balanced in some form. Not to say all relationships are meant to stay in contact, right? But it's important to look at all the people in your life and like what stories you're making up around your own communication forms, and be willing to change and work through them. Maybe not to stay together or keep them in your life necessarily, but to find the harmony and the sweet balance. Because, that's like what astrology and spirituality always teach us. It's like, how can we evolve to a way where we can be non-harming individuals and true to ourselves, of course, but also kind and loving with other human beings, and in a very conscious, mature form. Get out of this like insecurity and reactivity and what I label low vibrations. But hey, to each their own, right? We all go to different places in life. Okay, so what else did I want to say? Yeah, so ultimately, it's about creating the individual connection to your life, your purpose, your truth, your authenticity, and being the Libra in your life to where you're aligned, you're in your core. And when you're in your core and your truth, you're aligned with your values. So, you know what matters to you, you live them, you own them, and you want people in your life that mirror that energy back. So another shadow aspect of Libra is giving too much, being too much of service, like too good to all people, like I said, people pleasing. And so it's also important to see where your energy is not being reciprocated, and to take the time to look at like who is really mirroring your worth, your value, and what you've cultivated in yourself, and who's not, and who's maybe taking more energy than giving, and who's there to show up and support you in loving, beautiful, harmonious ways, right? Wanting to nurture their relationship, wanting to grow it, wanting to be in your life, and who's not. And then, from there, you have to decode it yourself. Like, is this person worth having in my life? Maybe you don't see them so much. Maybe you, whatever. It's all different and individual. But it's important to look at the karma and the karma that we create. So karma is like what we do, our behaviors, our words, our choices, our actions. And during Libra season especially, the justice comes from being in integrity. So if you say you're an honest person, but then you go lie all the time and say something and do another thing, that's not integrity. So that person is not aligned to this high vibration of Libra. no judgment. That's just not where they're at. So if you're up here and they're down here, it may be hard to connect and relate well. That may be a tough conversation to have, but an awareness to either choose to evolve into love and harmony, or, you know, what most people do is they just like say fuck off and bye and like peace out. So whatever. But you know, during the fall, it's like the universe wants balance and harmony, and what we say and do and how we treat other people, it all comes back around at some point in time. We may not always see it or recognize it. And so Libra season, it's like balancing the scales. And how are you going to consciously use this energy to let go of the past, to release burdens, to maybe even apologize to people, and to reconcile with past relationships or forms of relating, and to clear the barrier to then be able to move forward in yourself and your life and create these beautiful other glorious relationships, because you've harnessed the relationship with you and you've created your life and a foundation to attract that, right? And everyone has individual cycles, so everyone's the energy is always working with different elements. So that's why I always encourage to get to know your birth chart. And you can look at my website, kaylee-bliss.com, to get a star chart done by me, and to understand your own unique soul birthright and astrology chart, and you know how the different elements and planets connect, because it's super helpful and can bring a lot of clarity to what's going on in your life too, right? So don't be surprised if during the fall season you start to shift, and if Libra season forces you to look at yourself, your habits, your lifestyle, and different places to really motivate and inspire you to take action and grow. And it's important to do this now towards the end of the year and in the fall, because well, in the winter it's more about hermiting and understanding and to birth the new year. But after Libra season, we move into the depths and the waters of Scorpio. And Scorpio is all about passion, desire, wants, and it's like really getting deep into ourselves and with other people and like sexuality and stuff. And if you haven't aligned with you, the next part of the journey through the astrology, it's not going to be as easy, because then you won't be attracting things that are ultimately going to serve you in your highest, you know? Like we can attract things in people all the time, but whether or not they're good for us depends on how aligned we are in ourselves, you know, unless you just want attention or nice person to hang out with, or you know, whatever. And again, when I talk about relationships, it's all relationships, not just romantic. Family, business partners, clients, friends, maybe old like college friends, you know, who knows, it could be all sorts of people, but just stay open. And you know, during the season, especially as we're shifting into the fall and the energy is radically changing, asking us to transform, to transition, to seed new ways. Like, get real with yourself. That's the best I can say, because authenticity doesn't come unless you're real with yourself. And then once you start to get real in yourself, often we need to do the mental and emotional work to connect the pieces, to not live from a triggered, traumatized state or unconscious state, but to look at reality and wake up to our own flaws and shadow, and to do the work per se, to make adjustments and make changes and get out of our comfort zone and get out of our fear, get out of the fear that keeps us running or keeping us from having like loving, kind and fun and positive relationships, right? And you know, only you can know like what walls you build and how guarded you stay. And that might be a harsh reality, but during Libra season, September 23rd to about October 23rd, pivotal time to be like, what's not working? What can I do better? Where did I fuck up in the past? Who might I need to talk to, apologize, have some kind of neutrality, serve justice to, and balance the scales, just so that you or I don't have to carry the karma moving forward, you know? So we can all do the work individually, isolated, and say we're good, but really the truth of life and the authentic forms of life come from those hard conversations and being real with one another, and of course coming from a place of love from the heart. And that's the Venus energy, the ruler. It's like teaching us, hey, we all want good relationships, we all want people in our lives, and we want people that mirror like our highest potential and make us happy and bring us joy, right? So to do that, we got to embody it ourselves, right? And then we got to learn to connect with it and inspire people with other people, and to form these cool relationships and learn from relationships as a form to transform ourselves, to grow, to evolve, and I'd like to believe to become better people. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I'm Kaylee. Leave a comment below and take a like to this video or subscribe, please. And let me know what else you'd like to know. Check out my website, kaylee-bliss.com, and follow me on Instagram. Details below. Cheers and namaste.